Thank you everyone for coming. This is a very exciting event, very exciting day, and very exciting drop. I guess I'll present a little bit who Michael is. BEEPLE. He's an amazing artist, and once I realized that you've done 13 years of everyday graphics, everyday art drops on Instagram mainly. This is insane. So perhaps.
Well, it's definitely before Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit before Instagram even. Can you imagine? Like he was doing art when Instagram didn't exist. This is already crazy. So we have one revelation right in the beginning of the whole interview. But can you tell us like how did you actually get to this point where you said, okay, I'll do every freaking day an art drop, and I'll do it for whatever amount of time I can do it. How did you get there?
Sure. So the way I started this, and obviously I did not think I would be doing it, 13 years later. The way it started was I wanted to get better at drawing, and I saw an illustrator in the UK named Tom Judd who did a sketch a day, and this was back in like 2006, early 2007. And so I wanted to, back then get better at drawing too. So the first year of Everydays was drawing. And so you can look back at those drawings, they're absolutely freaking terrible. But I learned a ton about drawing. And I saw like a huge amount of growth way faster than, before. So after that year was done, before it ended, I was like, oh, I've always wanted to learn like a 3D program. I didn't know 3D Studio Max or Maya or any of that stuff. So I was like, what if I took, this Everydays, and instead of doing a drawing every day, I did a render every day. And so that's what I did. And so you can see the very first render in Cinema 4D. I'm like, oh man, you can do reflections. That's amazing. Like just simple stuff like that. I was just mind blown. And so, I just kept doing it because I saw like it was just such a great way to like learn and get better. And honestly, that's why I still do it now. And that's why I'm still so inspired and passionate about it, is because I still see so much room for like growth. I still look at so many things, color, composition, form, value, that I just like am like, oh man, I gotta get better. And sort of, as things have changed, now I'm 39. Now that I'm older, it's kind of like now I see kids that are like, fucking 22, and it's like, oh man, this fucking 22-year-old's crushing. What the fuck? I gotta like step up my game here. So it's kind of like, sort of changed over time. So, but it's still like, the main goal of this every day is to just improve and get better. And really the everydays themselves are really just kind of the byproduct. But the main sort of driving force is just like sort of continual improvement.
All right, damn, 39. You're old, man. All right. Yeah, so that's.
Yes, there you go. This fucking kid's owing me. You got your own fucking world here, motherfucker.
Whoop whoop. No, so it's when I think about it, I think whenever and in everything you do in your life, like if you are persistent and if you really pursue the goal. Ultimately, and if you love what you do, ultimately you'll succeed. I think that applies to everything, and I think you are the living proof of that for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any memorable like moments? Because doing something every day is a commitment, and there are some days where you cannot do it. There are some days where you are super busy or whatever. Life comes into the play.
That last part, there hasn't been any day that I can't do it, because I've purposely designed it in a way that I could do it in like 1 minute. It's like, okay, when you make it, if it's and the everydays is again like sort of removing any like excuses like that, like, oh, I couldn't do it today. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, literally doing it is like, for me, like each year I sort of have like a focus, and right now it's Cinema 4D. So for me, it's literally rendering any picture in Cinema 4D. So there's no way, unless I'm physically in like a fucking coma, that I can't like do a picture in Cinema 4D. If I have to like just like render a sphere with like nothing else, then that's what I will do, and that will be a day that I did an everyday. So I
Awesome.
think a big part of it is sort of like setting your expectations realistic enough that, you know, it will be something that you can continue to do, because yeah, you're going to be busy. I've got 2 kids. I bought numerous houses since then. I moved. I blah blah blah. Like, I think you know, if you are like, I need to put in 2 hours every day, yeah, you're not going to have 2 hours every day, but you will have, you know, 3 minutes every day.
Yeah, 100%. So, okay, so at least we know now that within those 13 years, he never has been in coma. That's good to know. Yeah, so
That's true. I'm actually worried more about going to like jail. Like if something happened and I was like put in jail. Not that I'm doing anything that would like put me in jail, but
yeah. You tell us. Yeah. we believe you. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. And okay, so. Right. So you are doing that art, and you know, you're gaining more. I mean, you freaking have like 1.7 million followers on Instagram, all right? If for someone didn't know. So what did it become, like that thing, those everydays for you that you didn't expect that it will become? You know, you probably knew that it will, you know, grow into something, but it probably grew into something else, I mean, right?
Honestly, I didn't really know. And the other thing I will say, you know, again, like when I first started, this was before people were posting art on social media. When I first started, the first probably, I would say at least year or 2 years actually, I think I started posting on Facebook in like early 2009. And so I did like a year and a half, almost 2 years, just posting on my website. And I guarantee you, fucking 3 people saw that a month. Like my mom saw it and maybe 2 friends. Nobody gave any shit what I was fucking doing. But again, back then it was before, like, you know, there was all this pressure of getting likes and getting fucking retweets and all this garbage. So honestly, I feel super lucky to be able to have like started out like in my fucking basement or whatever alone, and just been able to like grow and sort of like gain confidence. And that's the other thing, throughout the like 13 years, it's really been sort of like a slow kind of like build of like exposure and this or that. So there was never this moment where there was all this attention on me and it was like, oh wait, what the fuck? Like, there's all this pressure now. So it really has sort of like ramped up in a way that, you know, kind of has, I don't know, made it easier to just kind of, oh, okay, like, no, there's more people kind of, you know, paying attention now.
Yeah. It's an amazing story. And okay, so let's get slowly but steadily into the NFTs and crypto art and all this rabbit hole. So you are doing this stuff and you are cruising along the lines of the internet, and then suddenly something happens and you freaking come to crypto art and you break the whole thing up. So how did that happen? Like, who introduced you to crypto art, and why did you think that it's interesting?
So, you know, I've been obviously before this, prior to this, doing, you know, mostly like freelance work or, you know, stuff like that, regular, normal, you know, kind of designer work. I do like a lot of like concert visuals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people kept kind of hitting me up and being like, oh, you got to check out these NFTs. You got to check out these NFT things. And I think I looked like sometime in the summer, and I was like, I don't recognize any of these artists. And I was like, this seems cool, but like, it doesn't feel like something like for me. It feels like a different space that was like, you know, for different artists that I, you know, if I were to step into this space, it would be like me stepping into like a sculpture, like, you know, arena or something like that, where it's like, who the fuck is this? And so, like 2 months ago, then people kept bugging me, and I looked again, and then I looked and I recognized all of the artists, and it was like, I know all of these people, and they're making a shitload of money. Like, what the fuck? And so I, you know, immediately saw Pac was making a bunch of money, and it's like, okay, I know fucking Pac. So I immediately texted him. I'm like, dude, what is going on here? And so he was nice enough to like, you know, sit there for like 2-3 hours, and we like chatted back and forth, and like he explained like super rare and nifty, and okay, you mint these tokens and you blah blah blah, and like literally from that moment on, it was like heads down, like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, I've never been like more sort of like inspired, and just like, it just has this energy that just I can't even like fully describe. That it's just like literally since then, it's just been like so consuming, because prior to this, like I've been interested. Like I have a computer science degree. I was never a programmer and never really used it. But like I find, sort of bleeding edge technical things, interesting. So, and I'm also interested in like investing. So it was like, here's this like mix of like investing and like art and like, crazy technical shit that it was just like, oh my God, this is like the fucking thing. What the hell? Like, this is just, and so I just started reaching out to anybody I could, collectors, artists, metaverse, you people like you, CEOs of different companies, and like so. Since then, I've talked to like quite a lot of people,
Right.
in the space, just to try and understand, the different aspects of DeFi versus the metaverses, understand very on a technical level how the tokens are minted, what's on contract, what's what the smart contracts sort of govern, what's on chain, what's off chain, and like where these things are stored, what's possible technically, and just really try to like wrap my head around like the whole thing.
All right. So before we come to this drop, which is right above our head, I just want to say I'm so happy that first, we're recording this. Second, we have a fucking puck on the record, so I can loop it and make some music out of it later. So all right. So let's get to your drop, which is right there. Like you thought, the 2020 is already crazy year, and now you come and you want to make it even more crazier. So tell us, like, how did this idea of crossing the NFTs with physical? Obviously, that's nothing new, but in a way, you are doing it. So maybe you describe, like, first of all, how did you come to this idea to make that, and second of all, just tell us what it is exactly, like what is coming in the package, what that glass thing is.
Yeah, so honestly, I literally started this, the drop that I did, it like closed on Saturday. I literally started it immediately the next Monday. And like since then, my wife and I have just been heads down working as like, I've never worked this hard for the last 5 weeks or whatever, 6 weeks. Like we have both been like, she is now completely consumed as well, on like making the boxes like as dope as possible, from the actual sort of like construction standpoint. But yeah, it really just sort of like evolved. It was like, I feel like a bunch of things just sort of like clicked in my head. And after the first drop, like I got a bunch of feedback, and a lot of the feedback from people outside this space was, how the fuck is this different from Instagram? And why the fuck would I buy an MP4? And so those were the two questions that I wanted to like solve with this. Like, those are good questions. Let me see if I can figure out some way to solve this. And somehow I just came upon like, what if we like, took these screens that are like, you could collect and sort of like make the everydays feel like they're a collectible, feel like it's like a trading card type thing. Look at a bunch of different industries. Look at high fashion. How do they release things? They put it into collections. So this is the 2020 collection. In the spring and fall, I'm going to do spring and fall collections. Look at vinyl trading. How do they make vinyls look like something you'd put on your desk? How do we make these pictures themselves instantly recognizable, that they're better than like what you see on Instagram? Okay, well, let's make them videos and zoom in on like the like details that you can't do on Instagram.
Right.
So it honestly, and then sort of like with the web thing, like, okay, how do we like combine it with a website where all this data can live, and I can sort of like add extra sort of like information that's like off chain to like augment these things, and really trying to make something that didn't feel like it was like a prize. Like I don't want, these are like the art, like it's not like a prize that's separate from the NFT. So I've also done a lot of things to sort of like make it so that you would never separate the two. Like I can't stop you obviously from doing that, but I really look at it as like you can't stop somebody from cutting a baseball card in half and trying to sell both sides. Like, you could do that, but it'd be fucking stupid. So, all I can do is sort of like disincentivize people from doing that. And then I honestly don't think people will, because it's like, it won't be in their best interest to do that.
Yeah. I agree, and by the way, I read your FAQ on the website about this drop. So if you didn't, you better go and read, because this was one of the most hilarious things I've read in 2020. So if you didn't read the FAQ page of that web page where the drop is heading, you're missing out. Yeah, all right. So you go and you read this stuff immediately after we finish here.
Don't read it if you're at work.
No, if you're at work, read it out loud. Read it out loud, all right? if you're at work. Exactly. Okay, so we'll be wrapping up. So could you tell us, like, how difficult it was to create? Because that is kind of like, it's a physical thing. It involves glass and all this kind of stuff. Like, how difficult was it to create something like that, and how maybe you did it? Like, what was the steps you had to take to actually create and manufacture something? Because it's already, it includes manufacturing. I mean, crazy stuff.
Sure.
So
and honestly, like, again, this whole thing came out in a month. So really, this isn't like, it really wasn't like we were making all these things. It's really like we put together a bunch of things through like a bunch of different vendors. It's like one vendor for the box. Then let's make find a vendor that can make really dope stickers to put on the box. Then find a vendor that can, sort of make custom ribbon that says this. So, and with like 2-day shipping on all this stuff, it's like you get an idea, and then like 2 days later, it's like, okay, let's just try it out. And so we really just like ordered a bunch of shit and like sort of cobbled these together in our like, living, or our kitchen is full of like boxes and vials of hair and fucking certificates and ribbons and all of these different things that we really sort of like pieced together to like design this product.
all right, yeah. So that's amazing. I mean, I've seen pictures. Obviously, I see this, and this is like, I'd buy that. And I'll put it somewhere in my. I'd put it somewhere in my gallery. Can I put this in my gallery? No, I'm joking. This will not fit.
That is fucking dope, dude. I appreciate you making that, dude. It is freaking badass.
No, I love the reflection of the sky and the sun in this stuff. It's just pretty cool.
Sweet, dude.
No, so I've seen the pictures of physical stuff, and they're really cool. It's a collectible, which I can imagine, like, having a token and having this on the table. That's just an amazing combo, right? And it's definitely.
I feel like it's one of those things where, like, right now it's very hard unless you set up a screen, which takes time and takes like a bunch of sort of work to set up a screen to like view your NFTs. It's very hard to enjoy them passively, like you would like another piece of artwork. It's something you can't just sort of like have in your environment. You have to like set up all this stuff to do that. Otherwise, you have to choose to go to a website and view them like on the website, or something like that. So this is about making it so that these can be like a way for passive like appreciation of like digital art.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally love it. So before we wrap up here, because there is another section of this interview which will be happening in the MOCA museums. This will be a fireside chat. There you will be able to see many of those actually things in the glass, and actually touch and feel them if you want. All of them, all right, all of them. So you'll be able to see all of them there. And we'll continue the discussion, but before we wrap up here, the drop is Friday. Which time?
Yep. So there's sort of like three kind of like components to the drop. It's 7 o'clock on Nifty Gateway tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern, and there's a $1 edition of 100 again that I'm sure will sell out immediately, probably mostly to bots.
Yeah, within less than 1 second. Thanks, man. We'll be stressed again. Yes.
But there's also a 5-minute open edition with 3 of the different everydays, and they are the like Ethereum piece, a Bitcoin piece, and then like a Pokemon everyday. And so there's 3 different ones that you can get. Those are $969, and those include the physical token as well. And then there's also, throughout the weekend, 21 separate one-of-one auctions for like single edition ones. And those they ship faster, they have like a better box, and yeah, but they also include the physical token, and they're a one
And the hair.
And so
They include a physical token and a hair.
They also include the hair.
The hair. All right, they include the hair. Yeah.
Say it again. Oh, the other thing
No, go
with
ahead.
these is all of them can be, like, after this, they'll be able to be registered on the beeple-collect.com, and so you'll be able to like upload, like you'll be able to see on each one of the artworks who owns it, a little message, like URL, and then they can, you know, upload a photo of their like token, or, you know, them holding the token, or whatever they want, like, you know,
Oh, nice. Right.
show.
Right. So I guess the final message would be, if you thought you have enough money until the end of 2020, you are wrong. So yeah, everybody, get ready for Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for coming to this stage. Thanks for having this chat. And of course, good luck in the auction.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good luck everyone in the auction. And right now we'll be heading to MOCA museums, which is that direction. So follow us, and let's have some fireside chat there.